everybody. Today I want to do a book discussion of the book We Were Liars by Lockhart. And this is going to be a discussion, not just a review, because I feel like a lot of people have already read this book. They know what it's about, or they have some idea about it. There's a lot of buzz about it, so a lot of people have either heard of it or already read it. So there's no need to really push it and say, go read this book, or to give a little teaser about what it's about. And also, I feel like it's a book that's really hard to talk about, without giving things away. And it is a really fascinating book. It has, twists in it. It's got a lot going on with it. So I just want to talk about it with other people who have read it here on YouTube. So this is going to be spoilers. It's going to be a full-blown discussion. If you haven't read the book, I would recommend not watching this video. And if you're not planning to read the book anyway, and you're just curious to see what the book's about or why people have been hyping it up, then watch this video and you will know. So, in a nutshell, it's about these four teenagers that are called the Liars, and three of them are cousins. Two are, I think, a brother and sister, and the other one is their cousin, and they come from this wealthy family, and every summer they go to stay in this private island that their family owns. And so one cool thing about this book is that at the very beginning, if you love maps and books, here is a lovely map of the island. So you can see Beechwood Island, there's different, docks here, and they each have, their own house where all the different family members stay and things like that, and they reference these houses. So I did find myself turning back to this page quite often to see, what house they were talking about, where they were going, what they meant. And then there's also a family tree here of their family, so the Sinclair family, and there are kind of a lot of characters in this book. So at the beginning I was also pretty overwhelmed with all the people and keeping everybody straight, and so I would just come back to this page quite often just to reference that until I really got it down. So that's about it for the cool stuff in the book that it shows you. The rest of it is about something happens on this island to the main character, and she goes back and things have changed, but she has no memory of what exactly happened, and she meets up with the little group called the Liars again. She's trying to piece together the missing parts of her memory, what exactly happened, and as it unfolds we see that, there's something strange going on here. And of course the big spoiler, or the big twist at the end, is that her friends are actually dead, and they just came back to kind of help her. I guess they're just like in ghost form. She's talking with them, and she comes to the realization that they died, and it was actually her fault that this happened. And there was a lot, of course, that went into it. Basically, there are three girls in the Sinclair family, three daughters, and something's happened with all of them. Either, they left their husband or their husband left them, and so they're all single women, and they come to this island in the summer, and their father is, really wealthy. He's the one that, their family has the wealth because of him, and their mother has passed away, and they're constantly bickering about who's going to inherit what, and, they all want money and things like that, and all the kids, the little group of Liars, and there's also some younger kids that are kind of secondary characters, are, hearing all of this, and they really hate that their family is being torn apart with this greed and things like that. And so they decide that they're going to burn down one of the houses that kind of represents all these things that they don't like, and it's in that fire that the friends die. So, of course you know this if you read the book already, but it just goes into that, the greed and the money and things like that, and how it really is ripping this family apart, and how it's affecting the children. And then the second element, it has to do with one of the children who's this group of Liars, but he's not related to the family, and his name is Gat. And one of the grown women, the daughters, is dating his uncle, I believe, and he's Indian American, so, he has darker skin. In that sense, he feels like an outsider, and they're like a very rich, old-fashioned, waspy family. And there's some tension there as far as, the Sinclair guy, the head of the house, or the head of the family, their grandfather, the teenager's grandfather, doesn't like him, and he becomes involved romantically with the main character, the girl, and there's some tension there as far as, like, you shouldn't be with him, and he's not one of us, and that also contributes to this tension as well. So I feel like even though in the beginning this book was so light and fun and easy, and I mean, I wasn't expecting anything like what happened as far as the twist. I didn't know anything about the twist. Everybody that had mentioned this book, I heard it referenced quite a bit on Books on the Nightstand. They said, go into this book, don't, read a lot about it. And so I did that, and I'm so glad I did. And of course, I would recommend that to anyone who hasn't read it, which, I mean, they're probably not watching this video, or if they are, they're not going to read it anyway. But definitely not knowing what it was about, I thought, oh, it's just going to be this light, fun, interesting read. And I loved it. I mean, I loved the writing style. I loved, just the unique aspect of it. It was very easy to read, short sentences, very simple, but very fun. It didn't feel like it was dumbed down or anything. So I loved the writing style, absolutely. And then when the twist did come, it was just shocking to me. And it was amazing because, I mean, even though the book seemed so simplistic, and the characters, I didn't feel like there were these, really in-depth characters that she's really gone on and on and on about developing them, but they really shone through in this simple way of writing. And I mean, I never, cry about books or really feel sad or anything, but when I found out that they were all dead, I mean, I was just like, no, like I felt so sad. And I mean, I didn't actually cry, but I felt very, very emotional about it, and probably because I was, sitting reading with other people around. But I mean, I can see why people would cry over this book because it's just like so sad. And doubly sad because, they died over something so ridiculous, like their family was fighting and, over money, and there was, racism and hatred, and it's just like, for what? And all these young, wonderful people got caught up in it, tried to do something about it, and, ended up paying the price with their lives. So I feel like this book it's just very important because it illustrates that, but it's not, I didn't feel that it was overly preachy. I know it is, a YA book, so I think it's important that, young people are introduced to these ideas, and I think she just did it in an absolutely brilliant and genius way by, it's about teenagers, they're having this fantasy, they live on this island, they're rich, and yet there is so much depth to it. And as you go back and reread, like I think this book could, be reread and you would see so many different things. You look back and you see like, okay, she had sent, emails to her cousins and they never replied back, and you just think like, well, maybe they're mad at her, or ooh, what did happen? Why aren't they replying back? And then it comes to, find out like, well, they couldn't reply back because they're not around anymore. It was just so well done, and is a great commentary on society and, money and, hierarchy and discrimination and privilege and all those things. I thought it was just really fascinating and very well done. So that's kind of my discussion, my thoughts, what I took away from it, how it touched me. If you've read this book, I would definitely love to discuss it with you, in the comments, hear what you've thought about it. And I'm definitely going to seek out some other videos or maybe, book blog posts. I know some of the blogs I follow have discussed it, but I haven't read their reviews just because I didn't want to know anything about it going in. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this book affected other people, or, of the people that didn't like it, why they didn't like it, and if they really got that far into it. Maybe they thought it was just like a cheesy, lightweight teen book about a bunch of spoiled rich kids on an island, and it's definitely not about that. But I can see if you only read like the first part of it that it could come across like that. So that's it for this video. Of course, leave comments or your impressions about this book. Like I said, I'd love to discuss it with you. And also, if you know any other books that are similar to this one that are light and, give some sort of social commentary or have, some sort of message but aren't preachy and have it, embedded in the story and are really well done like this book was, then I would love to get some recommendations and read more like this. So that's it for now. I'll talk to you in my next video, and see you later. Thanks for watching and happy reading.